Hello, everyone. It's Kevin, and welcome to The Cosmic Perspective. On today's episode, I speak with another improv friend of mine. Her name is Claire, and she talks about her experience with comedy, leaving the medical field to pursue that. We talk a little bit about kind of neuroscience, and of course, you know me, I have to bring up a little bit about the psychedelic experience in relation to the brain. And we also talk about her current job at the Anti-Defamation League and kind of the culture of, I guess, stopping hate from spreading. And so I think overall, it's just a really interesting conversation, and I think you guys will like this one. So without further ado, here is the podcast. Thank you, Claire, for coming on the podcast.
You're welcome.
So I know that the first thing that I wanted to talk to you a little bit about is your journey into comedy, because you are another one, as if I have an endless pocket of these improv friends, people, and I keep pulling people out. And Claire was somebody who I actually met in the third level, and that was kind of like the new level that we like established, like a new, like we established a new group because it was a much bigger. You had your base
friends in level A, and then like I came on.
Yeah,
I was in
you and many others though that all joined in. There was like several in that group. So I want to talk to you a little bit about how you got to comedy, because everyone has some pretty interesting origin stories. I know these are all improv people, but I really feel like we're all very different. So
I'm trying to think. Oh yeah. So, one of my best friends, she and her best friend, my very close friend, they have been doing comedy for ages. And, they moved to Chicago from Pennsylvania to do comedy. And I've known her for about 4 years now. And she's like, Claire, you'd be so good at it. When I was 22, she was telling me you'd be so good at it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I'm not. No, that's not me. No. For 2 years, she was telling me you'd be good at it. You should do it. You should do it. And so finally, just over a year ago, I was like, fuck it. I'll do it. And so I started level A, and like, I instantly was like, this is amazing. This is so fun. I looked forward to it every week. And I completed it with you in December, and it's been great. Really. It's been so fun.
It was a good time. I mean, it's just like a good journey to go through, and there's so many things you learn about, not just like comedy, but honestly about yourself.
Totally.
Like, what is my go-to move in a scene or something like that? Like,
right.
That's kind of what you end up learning, and then people learn you. They're like, oh, well, I know if Claire's in this scene, if I do this, like she'll be able to play off it.
It's also fun because, like, you open yourself up. Like, I'm an open person, but I think not as much as others. And definitely a year ago, I was far more closed off than I am now. And like, now I'm sitting in here with a friend who I made 8 months ago, and we're doing this podcast. And like, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't do improv,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's really fun.
Yes, and the moment. That's what it's all about. Yes, and.
Yes, and.
Now, you actually came from definitely more of an educational background, right? With being on the medical track. So tell a little bit about that.
Yes.
I think that is interesting.
So honestly, since I was like born, I guess, I wanted to be a doctor. And like that changed. I wanted to be an architect for a minute, and then like this for another minute. But every single thing I did was to become a doctor. And so I studied neuroscience in college. I graduated with a degree in neuroscience. And I was able to do that with college softball. And, it was really difficult, but it was really fun, and I really enjoyed it. But honestly, as senior year was wrapping up, I was like, oh, man, like I didn't apply anywhere. I don't have a job like researching or anything for the summer. What am I really doing? If I didn't do that, if I didn't do that ahead of time, like what am I doing?
Yeah.
Why didn't I do it? So I kind of took a step back after I graduated, and didn't have a job or anything. And I got a part-time job in an after-school program as like an after-school teacher. And I was also interning for the Anti-Defamation League, where I entered there for like 6 months, and they hired me after that. And I have been there ever since. And I love every moment of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, let's talk about that for
Yeah.
a second. What is it like being in the Anti-Defamation League? Like, do you feel like you're fighting the battles that need to be fought?
Yes. So for those who don't know, the Anti-Defamation League is the nation's premier organization that fights all forms of hate. So, and we are also the only non-governmental organization that all FBI agents, cadets, like when they're starting out, have to get a training from ADL. So every single cadet across the country learns from ADL while they're learning at the FBI, and then they graduate and become like an agent or whatever. So a few tidbits.
What's incorporated in that? That's like interesting.
Right. So
what's going on with the
to
training?
my knowledge, it is a lot of anti-bias training, and kind of teaching
That black man over there, he did it. like avoiding that, right?
Right. It's a lot of anti-bias training and making sure that we address preconceived biases. Biases. What's the word? I'm not entirely sure.
I think it's biases.
Biases. Yeah. And addressing how you feel and addressing the situations that you might encounter as an FBI agent. And it's incredible work. I'm like, seriously feel so blessed to like have fallen into this place where we do just impressive work. And it's not just our law enforcement training, it's our civil rights work and our lobbying in DC. And I'm actually in the fundraising side, so I don't do any of that work on the ground, but I write about it, I learn about it, I hear about it every day. So it's an interesting time to be doing this work.
Yeah, I was gonna say we probably need that more than ever.
Especially in any organization who does civil rights work. We're needed now.
Yeah, we're needed now, and we probably don't have enough people, honestly, fighting that fight. Damn. Well, yeah, that's like a cool thing to fall into too, because although it has nothing to do with neuroscience,
right? Absolutely,
and honestly, nothing to do with comedy, really, either. But it still feels like purposeful, right? So, do you feel like you get a lot of purpose from the job?
Yeah, absolutely. I've never woken up in 3 years thinking, "Oh crap, I gotta go to work." I always am like, "All right, going to work." Like I feel very positive that I'm doing good and making a change, and not just even though the ADL is initially created as a Jewish organization, but also committed to fighting hate against everybody. I feel like as a Jewish person, like I'm helping the Jewish community in Chicago and across the country. But also I'm able to help any community in our area. I have learned so much and I continue to learn.
Definitely. Do you feel like, with like the rise in, let's just call them Nazis. Like I don't even like calling what do they call? Yeah, well, they call themselves something else though, right? Alt-right. Yeah, fuck that, Nazis. So like, how do you feel the ADL is handling the uprising of these now more empowered white nationalists, as they like to call it? A nice way of saying Nazi.
ADL does a great job of calling everything what it is. We don't hold back. We are a nonpartisan organization, but we are definitely, we call everything out as it is. Whether you're on the left or you're on the right, doesn't matter. You say something anti-Semitic, you say something homophobic, we call it out no matter if you're a Democrat or Republican or whomever. We were very involved in the Charlottesville rally that happened. And we had people on the ground there. It was just really a rough couple of weeks. For the country, and not just at ADL, but like for the country. We were scrambling and trying to get information to law enforcement and stuff like that. It was just a difficult time. But again, ADL calls it like it is. There's no gray area. It's black or white. It's they say it like it is.
Yeah, no, and I get that, because there is nuance, but like there's no nuance in somebody being like white people are superior. Like there's no nuance in that. Those people are just awful.
What? Say that again. I didn't really understand what you said.
Well, I was saying like for example, some people will be in a gray area where they'll say something off color, but you can tell they're not actually like, they're not racist. Or, you know, they might make a racist joke and we can all agree that the joke itself maybe is racist, but the person itself is clearly not like a racist person. That's more of the gray area. I'm saying like when it's white nationalists being like white people are superior, you know, those people you can that's black and white, and that's easier.
Right.
To,
but we, even those who say something like anti-Semitic and they're not an anti-Semite, like we still say like, hey, that was not good. You know,
you're empowering the dumb people who don't get the nuance. I guess.
And we teach, we teach educators and administrators and children even about bullying, cyberbullying, you know, all this anti-bias training we do at schools as well. We have been doing it like crazy, I feel like, since in the last 2.5 years ish, 3 years. I feel like it's just, we've been doing so much.
Yeah. Do you worry about like the thought police angle, you know, like where people then don't speak their minds anymore because they're like afraid of being called out? Do you ever worry about that end of it, like if it going too far of policing how people speak?
No. So again, ADL is very much we're like pro First Amendment. You know, you have every right to speak your mind, your freedom to oppress religion, all that whole area. But again, if you are saying something that's blatantly hurtful to somebody else, we will call you out on it. And, you know, our CEO has been all over the media handling things left and right with literally everything happening in the world. And it's great to have somebody like that who will speak for the community, but also like the organization. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Okay. What drew you to neuroscience in the first place? What drew you to like the brain? And I feel that's another really interesting.
That's a good question.
Topic.
I don't really know what drew me to neuroscience versus like psychology or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. I think it was more because it had the word science in it, and I was thinking like, yeah, medical schools will like that the word science is in my major. But like, I don't think there was any reason for that versus like psychology or something like that, or chemistry. Like I really don't know. I think I was just so interested in it. Yeah.
What's most interesting about the brain to you?
The fact that you dream and like you're dreaming about somebody you saw on the street for half a second yesterday and they're in your dream and you're like, what the hell is that? Like, why did that person show up? Or like you have all these random thoughts and random knowledge just like sitting in your brain, but like why, where are they? Why are they there? Like, how can you see that? Like, how do you know, as let's say like the neuroscientist who's telling me this, how do you know that this thought is in my brain? Like, how does that even happen? I don't know. It's like a whole existential thing that like I still think about all the time. Like, how do you know what's in my brain, what's in your, like, it's just, it freaks me out a little bit, but it's just really exciting also because neuroscience has grown so much in the last 15 years and like new things are still coming up with the brain, and they're finding ways to for instance, stop seizures, like deep brain stimulation, where they just, in layman's terms, put like a big pin in your brain, in a certain part of your brain, and when they think you're about to get a seizure, like it'll emit something. I don't know. I could be entirely wrong, but there are things like that. Like I think it's for Parkinson's, actually, not seizures. They put like a pin in your brain and like it stops the tremors.
I was gonna say the motor.
And I've seen videos on that, and it's just like so incredibly impressive. And like robotics is coming up with ways for people who maybe lost movement in their arms to use their brain to like do something with a robotic arm. Like it's just incredibly impressive, and things will only get better and be more impressive.
Yeah, definitely. I think in general, the progress that we're making, especially like with prosthetics, because I worked with a guy, his name is Albert Reed, and this guy's awesome. I actually have a video on my YouTube channel you guys can watch where I did like it was my senior year project, and I just did like a short little interview where we lit it and cut it. And he told his story about how he lost his leg and how he met this guy, Paul. And Paul basically gave him a leg. Like, he gave him the prosthetic and said, you don't have to pay for this. Like, I'm going to just take care of you.
Wow.
And his story is awesome, but I learned so much about prosthetics at the time.
Yeah.
And this is now a few year old data. So I'm sure it's gotten even better since then.
Yeah.
But they study a lot about like how to make it more like the leg actually
Right.
is, how to take more load off of people, how to have it chafe less on their skin.
Ooh.
You know, all these things that you don't really think about, but like they have to like put on like a sleeve on
Right.
their leg, on the nub or the stub or whatever they have
Right.
to put on the actual thing. But now they're getting to the point where you're going to be able to move individual fingers with these prosthetics. And then if
Yeah.
it's controlled by your brain,
It's
it's like that
controlled by
might
your
as well
brain.
be your fucking arm. Yeah.
It's so cool.
It's so cool.
I think my senior year, maybe somebody came to my college and like did a whole talk on it. And the entire time I was like, if for those who can't see, I'm like, my eyes are really open and my jaw is open. It's just like the coolest thing ever. And I'm such a nerd because I still like love all this stuff. But, oh shoot, there's something I was going to say. I don't remember. It's okay, it'll come up like in 20 minutes and then, whatever. But it's just really cool. Everybody who's listening, go look up neuroscience, go look up videos, see how cool the brain is. I'm not even joking. It's the weirdest, coolest thing. And you don't even know, like, your brain is who you are. Like, your body is just like the vessel in which your brain is, like, you are your brain. Everything else is like, whatever.
It's it's all part of you, like it's all you, but yeah, the thinking part is all your brain.
Like,
yeah,
you're speaking right now, but like that's your brain. And so like that's this whole like existential thing where I'm like, oh my god, like it's just so crazy to me, and I really do think about it all the time.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing. What's your opinion on the pineal gland?
Pineal gland, oh my god, I haven't heard that since like
Awaken your third eye.
way back when. Oh my god, I have no opinion on the pineal gland.
Do you have a theory on what it does? I don't know if they've proved that it produces DMT yet, but I want to say
What
that
is
they
DMT?
might. DMT, dimethyltryptamine.
What is that?
That is a whole other conversation.
All right, let's not get into it.
But no, it's a natural psychedelic that exists in all plants.
Whoa.
Well, not all plants, but most plants. And we have MAOI inhibitors
right.
in our mouths that deactivate it if you eat it.
Huh.
But there are, so like in the ceremonies, like the ayahuasca ceremonies in South America, those, you drink a thing before it that deactivates those, so that then when you take
Weird.
it in orally, you actually have this like
Wow.
several hour like DMT trip, but it's not the same as like if you just smoke the DMT, which really you vaporize it. But yeah, you can't actually burn it. It doesn't really activate it. But it's like then if you smoke it, it's like a 15-minute, you go to fucking hyperspace is what they call it. It's like a crazy thing. You should look it up, actually. I think it'll blow your mind, because that's also all produced by the brain. That whole thing is produced by the brain, and then the DMT is something that naturally occurs in your body and is naturally produced in a ton of plants.
I've never heard this before.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's fucking mind-blowing. But people believe that the pineal gland is what is actually creating the DMT in your body. We don't know. I don't know if this has been confirmed. Yo, Darian, pull that up. By the way, Darian is producing here. We don't have a mic for her at the moment, but
She's waving.
yeah. She's saying hi to all of you. She's like, guys,
She's,
I wish I could be part of this conversation.
she just learned how to switch from one screen to another.
Yeah, I'm teaching her how to multitask on the Mac.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say.
Yeah, bring it back. We're
Going
waiting
back
for
to
her anyway.
like prosthetics and everything. There's this, I'm sure you've heard of it, the phantom limb.
Yes.
where-
where they use the mirror. And,
Yeah, it's incredible. And even like people who do have all of their extremities, you do that mirror project on them and they think like if they're fake stabbing an arm, like you think it's really your arm. Like the way the brain works is just it's bonkers.
That's partly why
Bonkers.
VR works, right?
Yeah.
Virtual reality is like you're able to fool enough of your senses that it feels real enough that your body then thinks, oh fuck, I'm in this virtual world.
So basically the body is crazy. Enjoy
Specifically the brain. Another thing that I want to talk about, because this is me and I'm a fucking psychedelic person. What are your opinions on psychedelics and the effects that they have on the brain, and specifically with like therapy? Because that's what they've been studied for recently.
Wow.
It's okay if you don't really have an opinion.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I mean, I think.
Have you heard about any of like the clinical trials that they're doing? So they're about to push MDMA.
Oh my gosh.
Legally, yeah.
Wow. No.
For therapy. So it's going to be used for that.
No.
But it's been shown to be amazing for PTSD. Like
Wow.
people that come back from war, like they do these sessions with these therapists, and obviously these people are trained therapists, so they know how to get into the nitty gritty of what these people need to address in their lives. But the MDMA makes you more open to actually going there, and then you can associate good feelings with letting that out. And you end up helping a lot of people with like their depression and their PTSD.
Wow, I have not heard about that, but that's very interesting. I'd love to read more about it.
Right? Like people are doing, popping mollies and then going to concerts, but like really you should probably, pop a molly and then hang out with like your best friend and like talk about shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I have never ever thought about any of this.
I know. It's a whole
really
world
cool.
that like they don't want you to know about it because they made it illegal. On the basis of nothing. So I just figure like because of the brain, these substances basically just change your perception of the events that are happening to you, and it like changes the wiring of them a little bit. And so I think you'd be more curious about that.
Neuropsychopharmacology is unbelievable. The way your brain takes in like, for instance, like a sleeping pill or something like that, like the way your brain processes it all, or like taking an SSRI or something like that, the way the things that activate and the things that don't. Everybody look up neuropsychopharmacology. I know it sounds crazy, but like it's really just the way your brain interacts with Motrin or ibuprofen, like anything that you put in your mouth that's supposed to heal you or not, I don't know, but
or numb the pain.
But just look it up. It is incredible.
I don't think Darren's found an answer to our question.
So I even forgot what we were looking for.
for whether they've confirmed that DMT is produced from the pineal gland.
Well, let's talk about something else.
You can use your phone, Darian, if it's too hard to use the computer.
We can talk about something else now.
Yeah, we're just roasting her anyway. We got to give her a little bit of a hard time here. So I guess another thing that I'd like to talk about is what you want to do like moving forward. So you have a solid job. You've done the whole like improv comedy thing. Are you like looking to get back into performing regularly?
Well, I do perform regularly.
I
have a group called Neighborhood Watch. We are now in our last week of a run at the Conservatory. For all those people in Chicago, 11 p.m. on Fridays at the Conservatory in Ravenswood. Look it up. Go. Shameless plug. But I've been with those guys since July of last year, and it's literally 6 guys and me, and it's hilarious. It's fun. They're all so wonderful. We have a lot of fun just like goofing around, and that's what improv is. But I would like to start IO and start classes there and see the difference between Second City and IO.
Improv Olympics for people who want to know what IO is.
And I'd like to continue to perform, mostly improv. Like I'm not ready to. We're doing some sketch with my group, but they're all like far more sketch driven. Right? And they know how to write. They know how to like do it. And I'm like first time writer. Like
you're like
tell me how this looks.
Or like just tell me how to act. I'll just be your actor.
And like
in it.
we cut my sketch with like which like I'm totally fine with because like I didn't like it.
You felt
I tried
about
and
it.
I just the other ones are far better than mine, and so but I would like to continue doing improv.
Yeah, improv is. I mean, it's just fun. Like, I think it's hard to make a lot of money off it, but it's a fun thing to do. It's just nice to be up on stage.
Yeah,
you get to get people to laugh, and it's a more friendly environment than stand up. Stand up, they're like, all right, when can I boo this guy off? Whereas in improv, you're like, all right, when are they going to be funny? And they're like willing to give you that shot. even if it's not funny. They'll still give you those laughs.
Are you going to continue doing improv, Kevin?
I'm like open to it. I'm open to doing it. I'm open to performing. I don't have a group, and I don't know if I have a lot of time to put in every week to practice it. But I love it.
Practice.
I love improv. Like, I enjoy it. I just know that it's not my career. So
yeah,
I've just been putting more time towards this and like writing.
Good.
But I do miss improv, and I miss performing with all you guys.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. Every week was a new adventure.
It was. And we had some great characters in our class. Like, we've already had on a decent amount of people on the podcast from it, but there are some other characters like, dude, Lawrence.
Oh my God, LA, I forgot.
LA, dude. Poor LA was not able to make it into our final level because they put in way too many other people that we didn't know. And he was hilarious, man. This guy, like,
so funny.
He performed, he does like churches, right? It was like church.
I don't even know.
It was like church stand-up or something like that.
I remember stand-up. Was he with you guys in level A and like through?
He was with us through level A, yeah. Darian and I,
that makes me so
and
sad.
Lawrence, yeah, and Dr. J.
Dr. J.
Those were all the people that were from the OG class that made it through the end. Yeah, we otherwise dropped off like everyone else from that class. There were some really talented people though that I don't know if they continued or if they just switched time slots, but
from level D.
No, from like level from like level A to even level B. I feel like how many did we lose? We lost a lot. I feel like we lost a lot. Darian's like giving me I don't know what, dude. Don't ask me questions when I don't have the answer. I don't have a microphone, so I'm not responsible for this.
Oh,
but no, it was a good time, and it was like a valuable experience that I'd encourage anyone who lives in this area or lives near any of the other Second City locations. Try it out. Do the first level at least,
or even not even Second City. The Annoyance.
Yeah,
IO has classes.
Any local improv. Let's say there's none of those near you.
Yeah,
find a local improv and just like take a couple classes. I mean, I don't know if they all have the same like foundation as like Second City does in terms of like the stability of like having teachers and whatnot, but just the whole method of improv in general, of thinking quick on your feet, yes-anding the moment. There's so many good life lessons in the way it rewires your brain.
And like it sounds silly that we're saying that, but like take it from three people who are sitting in this room who graduated from this program. Like, it's just you just feel like really good, and you make friends, and you know, it's just fun. It's fun. I always think about Michael Scott doing his improv class.
I think most people do when they think about improv. They're like, oh yeah, that
Michael
Office
Scott.
scene.
He plays the same character.
Dude, and you'll meet those people too in your classes that play the same character every time.
He plays Michael Scarn, Agent Michael Scarn.
The Office is one of those shows that I've like seen a solid amount of it, but never enough, and yet I've seen it on like every single girl's Tinder profile is like, if you love The Office, then you'll like me, or like, you know, like something related to The Office, which I think is hilarious. Like, it's clearly a popular show. Yeah. Just in general, but like it's specifically mentioned.
What's so interesting is that I watched a little bit of it when it was on live.
Like live, yeah.
And then when my brother went to University of Michigan, and we used to have like a DVD player in the car. So when we would be going to visit him, we would play The Office because we had seasons 1 through 3 on DVD. And we always now associate it with going to Ann Arbor, Michigan. And so every time the song comes on, my mom's like, "Oh, this reminds me of like when we were all so much younger, and when you guys were so cute, blah blah blah." And it just like it's a feel good show.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. In like the characters, they're interesting. They feel real in some ways, and then other ways they don't.
Creed is just the weirdest fella. He's the best.
Hell yeah. So what's another show that maybe inspired you, like comedy wise?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if it inspired me comedy wise, but like as a female, I would say Parks and Rec. Yeah. And I know that that's obviously a popular show, but Leslie Knope is like,
oh my God,
the coolest person. Like, she's so enthusiastic about her job, her friends, her life,
her binders, dude.
Her organizational skills are to die for. And I seriously, like, I like couldn't find a better like life role model to come from television, you know? Like she's just really cool.
Yeah, she's like awesome, and then she's also like cheesy and corny,
Right.
but in like the most adorable ways
Right.
that you're like, oh, let's
Right.
Meanwhile, I'm sure Amy Poehler's not really like that, but
I'd love to meet her.
It's still funny to see her play that
Right.
character
And
because
what's
she plays it so well. Like, you believe she was Leslie Knope.
And what's also really great is that she's not like an older woman. She's not a younger person. Like she's in her 30s and she's like, she's single and she's making it work, but she's loves her job. Like it's just really cool. And like I think about that a lot, like the age of the characters and, you know, who they are outside of the TV, you know, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But it's just she is definitely a character who I look to as like somebody to like a role model character.
Yeah, you got to treat yourself.
Treat yourself 2011.
Oh man, poor Aziz though. He's kind of been through the ringer, I think, a little more so than he deserved when you look at like Harvey Weinstein, you know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be in the same conversation, I think, but
I don't know.
I know.
I didn't honestly like
it seems to me like just too much of a he said she said type.
I don't even know, like I didn't even read anything about it. It kind of happened and I don't know why, but I like didn't even.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it sounded like just a bad date. It sounded like a bad date that like didn't go as either one of them, I think, planned. But I don't know. I don't know enough like to know like what the details are.
Sure.
I just think it's tough when you see like in society now, it's like it's this witch hunt all the time for people, and I feel like that's scary. That's scary if we get to this like mob mentality where, like, oh, we all hate him now. Attack! And then they send all their fucking trolls and try to destroy
some of it's
him.
warranted.
So, for sure. And some of it, like Harvey Weinstein,
Right.
Perfect example, right?
Yeah.
Then he deserves it. But
Right.
there, I think a good example of this being dangerous is like Shane Dawson, right? That's his name? Yeah, Shane Dawson's a YouTuber who made a joke, like, and maybe the joke wasn't that funny, but the joke was very clearly a joke. And then people took it out of context and then started labeling him literally as a pedophile.
Oh.
Yeah, which is like the worst label that you could be thrown at, even if it's completely false. And although it is completely false, now that's going to forever show up next to his
But also,
name.
like, don't make jokes like that.
Yeah.
I don't know this guy. I've never heard of Shane Dawson.
And you can make that argument, but people shouldn't pay for mistakes they made just because it went on the internet. You know what I mean? Like, because there are arguably a lot of mistakes that people make in life that is never recorded on the internet,
yeah.
and you're able to grow from it, and no
Sure.
one will hold that over your head for the rest of your life.
Sure.
Whereas now, it's like if it's on the internet, they're going to hold it over for the rest of your life
Stuck
just
there.
because you
Right.
might have learned from it a week later. You're like, oh yeah, I'll never say something like that again, and now I know. But now it's like now everyone in every interview
Well, it's
is
like
going to
Logan
ask you about
Paul.
it. Oh, well, he's another story, dude.
Right, but that's like, I mean, he posted whatever, and then he quote unquote learned from it.
Yeah, but he didn't. Though.
Right.
He immediately followed it up with videos that proved he didn't learn anything.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. Yes.
Then forget I said anything.
No, Logan Paul's a bad example, but
Forget I said
but
anything.
yeah, he's awful. Logan Paul's awful. He's just a guy who I think just has yes men around him. Like, I don't think anyone tells him what's really going on. They're just like, oh, we'll make more money if he makes this crazy video.
Jeez.
Yeah. I don't know.
The worst.
Yeah, he kind of is. He kind of is the worst a little bit.
Another Parks and Rec reference.
Oh, man. I had something else I wanted to ask you.
Sports.
And now I'm drawing
Comedy.
a blank on it. Oh, yeah, you did mention softball. What do you think? What do you think you learned about softball?
From learned about or learned from playing?
I guess learned from playing. I didn't say that clearly, but
Well, I was playing.
What you learn about the sport of softball?
I played baseball / softball from when I was like 4 until I graduated college.
Did you hate it by the end of it?
No,
Oh, that's awesome. I had the
I was
opposite.
like burnt out just because I had been playing for 18 years and I was like,
Yes.
finally a summer in which I don't have to play softball.
Yes.
Or, feel like I'm working out. I just learned a lot of time management and a lot of like realizing that I'm stronger than I think I am mentally and physically. And, you know, it was a lot of injuries, but,
what kind of injuries?
oh my God, I can't even tell you. I had so many ankle injuries that I had to have ankle surgery my first year in college. So I was out after my freshman year. I could not work out or anything from July of 2011 to like October, maybe.
Shit.
They had to like put my tendons back together, like weave them back together because they were so far apart. Darian's mouth was open, jaw to the ground. They put like anchors. I have metal in my steel, I think, in my ankle. But it's 8,000 times better. And, you know, I've hyperextended my knee. In college, I was bench pressing and the weight was too much and my shoulder like popped out and I sprained like the joint. So I couldn't really move. A lot of things. A lot of things. And you just get like, you have to squat and so like your back hurts and then you run a lot so your back still hurts and then like you slide wrong on the base pads and you scrape up it's just any college athlete.
Yeah, that's the life, right? And then you always feel like you can't really take the time off because you feel like you're letting down your team.
Yep.
And then you rush back in sooner than you should and then you make it worse.
But it's also hard to take time off because our season, college softball season or spring season for any sport starts February 15th and it goes until, let's say you don't make the playoffs, it goes till the end of April. So you have literally a month and a half, 2 months of the sport that you came to college for. So you got to kind of like put your all into it and then take the time to recover in May, you know. But if you make the playoffs, then you're in until, you know, May 20th or the end of May. But yeah, it was a fantastic time. I'm actually in a wedding for one of my teammates this fall. Yeah, and I get to see a bunch of my old teammates, which is gonna be so fun.
That's awesome. Have you thought about like doing rec league now?
Yeah, but I also like.
It's basically beer league.
I don't want I've been playing competitive sports for 18 years, and
you don't want to play
because I feel like I'll be like, God darn it, Jamie, pick up the ball. Like, I feel like I'm going to be like, she'll be like, go away, stop. I'm like, we're losing by 14, you know? I
don't care, dude. I had like
this
7 beers
already. This is a beer league. I know. Get your head in the game. So
that's true. It's hard to like leave a hyper competitive environment where people are all playing at their best game and like you're pushing yourself to then all of a sudden no one really cares. It's kind of like a social gathering thing.
Yeah. I've definitely thought about it, but I prefer to just like play catch and like do a little like a fun game. Me and my friend want to do we want to get like 18 of our friends and do 9-on-9 and just have like a game one day in the summer. It would be so fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
It would be so fun. But
especially with the weather improving.
Let's hope. Crossing my fingers.
I'm not expecting anything until June. Yeah. You just have to keep those expectations low.
It might snow in June. Who knows?
Dude, if it does, I'll leave right then and there.
Go back to Florida. Yeah. Go Gators.
I don't know if I can go back to Florida, but I'll go somewhere warmer. Yeah, so one thing that I remember specifically from class, like when you first came in, is that you talked about some of your travels. Where are some of the coolest places that you've traveled?
So, I studied abroad in South Africa, in Cape Town, when I was a junior in college. And then going into my senior year, I did a neuroscience program in Barcelona for a month. And then 2 years ago, I went to Ireland over the summer. Last summer, I went to Israel on birthright. This summer, I'm going to Italy. So I'm covering a lot of I countries, which is really exciting. But I'd love to continue traveling. It's so great and so fun. I was actually just in California a few weeks ago. I know, exotic. But I do enjoy getting away and relaxing.
Yeah. You have to get away. If you're like trapped in the same location, no matter where, it could be the most beautiful location ever. If you're trapped there for too long, you gotta like get up and
you get the spilkies. You get like the heebie-jeebies.
The spilkies.
The spilkies. I think that's Yiddish.
I was gonna say I've never heard that
Yiddish
before.
Yeah.
Nice. No, that's dope. I want to travel more.
Where have you been?
Nowhere.
Okay.
I've been no. I mean, I've been to like Atlanta, of course Chicago now that I live here, but I was here a bunch of times before I moved here. I've been to like multiple places in Florida, and then the most exotic place I went was the Virgin Islands.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's where Tim Duncan is from.
Is that where he's from? I didn't know that.
Did I make that up? No, I think that's right.
I don't know shit about basketball.
I think Tim Duncan is from the Virgin Islands. Darian, look it up.
Darian, pull it up.
Duncan. He played for the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah. No, I know who Tim Duncan is, but I don't know what his origins are. But but no, so yeah, the Virgin Islands was cool because like my aunt like took our whole family. Like her family took us, and so we kind of like went on a joint vacation with my cousins and stuff.
That's awesome.
And that was cool. Like that was the most exotic place I'd ever been, and like it was the islands. The water was like crystal clear.
Really?
It was some next level.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that part was like.
What do we got, Darian?
Darian, what is the conclusive answer?
Why is it taking so long?
Yes,
He's from
apparently it checks out.
Score.
According to our very slow Google searcher, you got to be on the ball, Darian.
On the ball, like Tim Duncan played basketball. Gosh.
Every time I hear Tim Duncan, though, I just think of Tory Lanez because he's got a song called Tim Duncan. Yeah, I don't know. Shout out to Canada, my 3 listeners in Canada. And also shout out to the UK, though. I don't know who you are, but somebody's downloading my stuff in the UK, and I appreciate you.
Word.
Actually, I'm going to start an email list soon, and I will let you guys know when I do that. And when I do, I want you UK people to come onto the email list because I'm going to send you something.
You want to see the .uk email?
I do. I need proof. You guys have to have like a picture in front of Big Ben or something. Okay. All right. Anyway, I think we can kind of just end it there. But this has been fun. I had a lot of fun, Claire.
Me as well, Kevin.
Yes.
No,
I don't want to insult.
Wonderful.
I don't want to insult the UK people with a bad accent.
That was not not an insult. That was more like
no.
I'm sorry.
I was saying like for me, like to try to throw the British voice back. I'm like, I'll butcher it. I'll butcher it right now.
That was more like my.
Yes, the pleasure was all mine.
Yes.
Yeah. I knew what you meant. All right, cool. All right, see you, everybody. Bye.